Welcome back to the better part of the show, the second hour. Welcome to Lovebabz, Lovetalk on Babz Rolls Ivy. And it's Enroue. Hello, Enroue.
Hello, Babs.
How are you? Happy summer.
Happy summer. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, your summer's
Today.
going
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it's been a full summer. Um, we're talking with some people, the kids, and it was both a feeling of like the beginning of the summer feels so long ago,
I
and
know.
and it feels like the summer is about to just end. Also,
I
it's
know.
a very, which
Is
is
your
I
son
guess
back
like
at
how all
school?
the seasons. No, not yet,
Okay.
not
Okay.
yet, but next Friday.
Oh, so he's got a little more time before he jumps back into the
Right.
grind.
And my youngest goes back the week after that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Everybody
And
will
back
be
into
where they gotta
fall
be.
things. Yeah. How are you
Ugh.
today?
I'm good. I love summer. I don't want it to end. I know.
Not New England.
No, not New England. I need to live somewhere else other than I need New England sensibilities somewhere else
Mm,
where the weather is like this all year round. Perfect.
mm, mm.
So, oh
Yeah.
well. Oh well.
Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Um,
So,
well, shall we do some chanting and welcoming and
yes, we
see
live
what
for that.
rises? Um, so for those who are just tuning in for the very first time, welcome. I'm a Babalawo, I'm a priest in the Yoruba tradition, and this is an ancestor chant where we honor our ancestors for the gifts and the blessings, the ashe that they have left for us. And we are saying to them, that ashe that you've left for us, we are using it today. So that's the nature of this chant. It's honoring our male line, our female line, and all of our ancestors. If you listen in the chant, Baba refers to elder males or the male line. Ye Ye refers to the elder females, the female line. Or Egun or Egungun is the Yoruba term for ancestors. Ibaba tó fún wa ṣe o, Ibaba tó fún wa ṣe. Ibaba tó fún wa ṣe o, Ibaba tó fún wa ṣe. Àṣetè fún wa ńlá lóyè o, Ibaba tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà yèyé tó fún wa ṣe o, Ìbà yèyé tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà yèyé tó fún wa ṣe o, Ìbà yèyé tó fún wa ṣe. Àṣetè fún wa ńlá lóyè o, Ìbà yèyé tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe o, Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe o, Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Àṣetè fún wa ńlá lóyè o, Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Ìbà egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Àṣẹ.
Ashe.
Àṣẹ.
I
So
mean.
may we find those blessings, right? May we
Mhm.
find the good things that we inherit from our ancestors, and may we find the courage to use those things, to embody those things today. Ashe.
So I hear you're writing poetry
Hmm.
and you're
Yes.
making it public. Talk to me about that.
Yes. I've been writing poetry for a long time, but it's just been private, or there may be times I write something or give it to some people for, birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. But I decided to start sharing it publicly. At some point, I'll put some things together to get published, but I realized I just wanted to start to share that, even separate from that. So on my website healingandliberation.com, which is where people can find me in general. There's some information about being a babalawo and some of the consulting work that I do. And I have a blog page on that. And so I've started to post poems on that. Before that, it was a place that I would very sporadically share things that I might be doing in the community. There were some links to some of the shows that we've done, which I need to update. And then I said, I have this place. Let me just start doing it. And so, yes, I have invited some people so you can subscribe to the page. And so whenever I post a poem or something that I've written, you'll get an email with a link back to the poem. Yeah, it's been it's new doing it. It's only, I mean, maybe for about a month or so that I've been doing that. Feels really good. It's all the things of being nervous about it, but I've gotten a lot of really wonderful feedback, and I realized that yeah, there were just some things that were getting in my way of just putting it out there. And so I just said, let me just put it out, and stuff that I want to publish, I'll kind of sort it out, and I'm just going to keep writing. So there's not going to be a shortage of pieces. And so when I want to really compile something, I can do that.
I love it. But that's good, because even if you have barriers to doing what you want to do, that means there's a whole lot of other people that have got barriers who can't quite figure out how to get around,
Oh
through.
yeah, I got barriers. I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, people have these notions of me. And, I just want to say, like, I'm a person. I got barriers, I got problems, I got blind spots. I have I've certainly addressed a lot of things in my life. But I haven't always been the nicest person. I've caused people pain inadvertently, sometimes on purpose, not skillful things. Some of it was about like not really being honest with myself or knowing really what I needed. So I say that as like, because sometimes people can say, oh, well, you're blah, blah, you're this, you're that, or you can do these things, or look at how things appear. And what that does is that actually creates a distance where they feel that they can do or make some changes that they need to. At this stage, right, I'm 56. I've been doing a lot of these practices. Like I was thinking about this earlier. So I've been sober since 1992.
Mm.
And so living sober is very different. And I had to do that to live, because I was drinking, I was getting high, and was just like, things were not good. I was doing a lot of hiding, not being honest with myself. And to be sober means I can't take something that will change how I'm feeling. There's still addictive behaviors that like I get hooked into, mostly stuff around technology, which is not I know is not unique to me at all. But I can,
No.
right, but I can notice it and then say, oh, what's really going on? What am I hiding from now? Or what am I avoiding now? And so it doesn't mean I don't do some of those things, but it also means that it doesn't really pull me off balance. And it means I can be a little clearer about relationships that I want or how I want to show up in them. And that, it doesn't mean that all the relationships are perfect or I show up in some glorious way all the time. But it just means I have a little bit more capacity to, be in the world as kind of clearly as possible, right? So that there's less in the way. You know. So I say that because it's actually just like, I've been now doing this sober thing for a very long time. And so that's, there's not really a concern about me using, but it's still there, it would be, it's so easy. So it's not like, oh, I haven't been drinking in so long, I could just like have a drink just for the fun of it. And I was like, well, why would I do that? Like, number one, drinking was, so for me, there was always a way that drinking, or I should say, not always, the vast majority of the time, drinking or getting high was like about getting high or drunk. It wasn't like, oh, I like the flavor of this drink, so I'll just sip it a little bit and not also be thinking about the effects that it would have.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always paired together. And maybe there are people where that's not paired together. I don't know, but it's certainly not me. And so there was there were times where I would like, oh, people would go out to like have a drink, like have like a beer or ale or like something after work or something. And I like tried that and I was like, I don't enjoy the taste of this enough to just like have a drink of this that is not also about me getting some buzz, right? Or getting high or something. So there, those things are always intertwined. So there's really no point in doing that because it's not enjoyable enough and it actually has negative repercussions. But again, these things are not easy. And so, you know, even as I was writing some emails to people about sharing my poems and the links to the page,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there, I was like, oh, is this too many, or would they really want this, or and I had to just like, in some ways, I had to just feel that and do it anyway. And I think that's a piece, even as I mentioned before, right? This courage to pick up what our ancestors, the blessings, right, that they've left for us, to pick those up and to use them, to actualize them, to embody them, takes courage. And courage is really about like still feeling scared and taking the step anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I really had to learn that that was still okay. Like to take a step with courage, to take a step and still feel fear or discomfort or anxiety was okay, and it wasn't a failure, right? Because I had in my mind, oh, I need to take the step and it not be any of those things. Then I know I'm like embodying whatever idea I had of perfection, which is absurd, right? And so I had to come to terms with like, oh, right, I can be scared and do the thing. I can be not motivated and still, get up and stretch my creaky body in the morning. I can write something. I can write as I've been learning also the kind of craft of writing. Or, I mean, that actually sounds fancier than I think it is. Something I've learned is like, if you want to write a book or a poem or a thing, right? That's made up, in the beginning. So I'm also working on a book. So I just finished a piece of fiction, and I'm in
Wow.
the process of some people reading it, and then going to try to get it published, find an agent, etc. And in the beginning, it just felt daunting. Like, how am I going to create a book? And I was reading, reading several things on like writers writing, and in that, I was like, well, a book is made up of chapters, made up of pages, made up of paragraphs, made of sentences. So if I write a sentence, I have contributed to writing this book because it's just made up of a lot of sentences.
I like that.
Like I had to like do that to just say like, oh, I wrote a few sentences today. I wrote a paragraph, maybe a page. Like that is success because that is moving towards this thing. That's how I had to do it so that I could get over the idea of what I thought it meant to write, what I thought it meant to be a writer, to produce something. It was like, oh, it just has to, you just sit down and you're just writing the book and then it's done. And like, that's not the case. And so that courage piece, right, is to like is also just like to keep showing up, in the day to day, right? Oh, today's not like a super exciting day, and I think that was also some pieces that I thought In the beginning of being sober, there was an idea because I used to use a lot, that I needed that a feeling of something in the day. I don't think I could have articulated it then, but that was certainly one of the challenges of being sober. It's like, oh, it's just a day. Like how am I another day and another day and and it just felt like monotonous and never ending. And I had to and there was a like, oh, let me see actually what's here. And let me be present with who I am here. And those are not easy to do, actually. There's a lot of distractions. There are a lot of things that pull us to prioritize other things or to think we're not enough. Or certainly that's the case for me. And those are still things I still struggle with. Like, oh, success looks like this. Even being like just a successful person or a present person, like doesn't have to be like I'm making gobs of money or I have some status or all the followers, but like whatever our notions of success is like, oh, I'm falling short of that. If I was really something, I would be, super dedicated and devoted and blah blah blah. And
Wow, that's a
and
that's a lot.
oh yeah.
But I love it because I think you're right. People have this notion about you that you're
I'm just like
unflawed
flowing
and
through
that
life or
you're
something.
just pulled together and you are, but do you know what I mean? Like you are.
Yeah, and there's a lot, my I say this to people like my spiritual practice, like I need that. Like I need not just like some connection to like the gloriousness of the divine and this mystical something. It's like I need the like quieting of the chatter of my brain and a connection to something that's just like it's okay. Like really being here is plenty. And just see what that is. See, so for example, I've said this before, but I'll say it again because it's so true. When I was, even before I got sober and I was in the midst of like just anxiety and this like mental breakdown, and I was talking to my mom and she made some comment about like walking outside and the light hitting this bush a certain way and there was like a bird in it. And just it was just like really beautiful and peaceful. And I heard her, and in the moment, my brain was like, that it makes sense somewhere that that is meaningful, but I couldn't feel it. I was like,
Mm.
how can that make life worthwhile? That common, ordinary, how could that like, how is that anything that would make, where's the trumpets and where's the feeling of the things or the glory, or whatever, the notion of what I thought it would mean for life to really have meaning, because I was in a place where life really didn't have meaning. And I was fighting for it, and for a while losing. And like, as corny as it really sounds, like those things are like really beautiful. And sometimes they can feel like light poking through. Oh, wow, that's really beautiful. And like, I just feel so blessed. And sometimes it's like there's an ordinary beauty to it, which is a reminder of, yeah, that beauty, the wonder in really simple, intimate ways that's totally separate from what human beings are creating. Like there's a meaning and a wonder that is like not about, you know, how people are looking or dressing or driving or presenting themselves. It's like it's that we are a part of. We are not the dictators of it. And so, for example, this concrete thing happened, which will sound, I don't know how it'll sound, but I had brought my mom to get a second cataract surgery. And I was outside the facility. Just I'd been sitting inside too long. I was like, I just need to like be outside. I was like on a screen too long. And so I go outside and I'm just like standing in the shade in the middle of this parking lot and looking around, and I could hear some cicadas, going off, and I look up, and on a one of the light posts was a cicada. And I don't think I don't I hadn't really seen a live full grown cicada just like sitting somewhere before. And so I just watched it and I was like, "Ooh, I hope it like, makes its noise so I can see what that really looks like in person." And it didn't. It was just sitting there. But it was a very interesting, for a long time I just and looked at it and also was taking in like it may also be noticing me, right? And it is like in the same world that I am, but has a completely different existence and has completely different priorities. And I've still got mine. Like I wasn't trying to be like, oh, those are like more important, but just like allowing myself to just watch it and be there. And I was very aware of like, you know, I'm a much younger person standing in this parking lot where people are like parking and going in and out of a building. No one's hanging out outside. I'm in a very this is like a little island in between all the cars. Um, and like I'm here looking up at a light post, right? So I was aware of like how odd and different that looked. And I was like, I'm still gonna be here and like explore this and be curious. And that had value for me. Um, and that's important, right? That's the like, let me not like because again, like the sky opened up and some majestic thing happened, but it was like, oh, I really get to like be here in the way I want to, and I get to be curious. And I don't have to have things figured out, and I don't have to worry about like, oh, what is this person? I don't have to change my behavior because I'm thinking about how somebody is thinking about me or how I'm fitting in or not fitting in. Um, and that only has come with practice. There were long periods of my life where I would never have conceived of doing that. I was like, oh, like, which is funny because many things in the ways that I was standing out, but there were ways that I would stand out and still be really protective and like just try to kind of barrier myself up about around the outside world. And so this is around more around like, oh, I can be open to that and work not to lose myself in what I think other people think or their hopes or ideas about me. Because it's hard enough really being present with like, well, how do I want to be here? I've got my own chatter around like right, good enough and value and um, I'll give you this other example. Um, there's a piece of something I've been building, working on for a while. So I over the years I found a lot of feathers, and I found a lot of blue jay feathers, and so I was making this piece that had a lot of blue jay feathers in it, and I finally it's been sitting around waiting for me, and I kind of worked on it a little bit, and then it's sitting, and I was like, I need to just finish it. There's things I just need to finish because it's important to just finish it for myself, and the one of the impetuses for doing that was like, oh, there's this person I know, and this would be this wonderful gift for them. And in the course of doing it, I was actually like, I need to treat this like it's a gift for somebody else and be open to it actually being for me. Because it can be so easy to, pour into something that's going to be a gift for somebody else. And sometimes not as easy to pour into it in the same way if it's for me. And an interesting way that I got around it was, in some of the things that I might do for myself is like, oh, well, like, do I deserve it? Or is this really good? Like, do I have, like, should I? Like, all those things go in my head. And I flipped it and I said, so if I was giving this to this person, I wouldn't judge them like that. I was like, oh, do they really deserve this? Are they good enough? Like, I wouldn't have that narrative. And so I just had to understand that, right? That I didn't have to add that. I would never do that to another person, and then turn that and say, well, let's not do that to myself, right? It's like ways that and we, because I know some other
Mm,
people do this, kind of like badger ourselves in ways that we would
mm-hmm.
never do to somebody else. We
Yeah.
judge ourselves in ways we
Yeah.
would never do that to somebody else. So I had to like really look at those two things together and say, hey, maybe this is for me in this special way. Maybe in this because it's a different type of thing. It's not just like just creating a piece of artwork. It's a piece that really has had some really deep meaning for me. So I was like, let me give that to myself in the same way, with the same depth of care and spirit and intention that I would make this to give to somebody else. Not even about technically does it look beautiful or not, but like with that heart into it, and then say, oh, and this is this gift that I'm giving to myself. So
Wow.
it's ongoing. This is, really living and being here. Like, it's not relentless because sometimes it's maybe it's easier and there's some resting, but like, we're very well conditioned in this culture. I mean, that's something that culture does. And there are aspects of this culture which are not healthy conditionings. And so it takes some real courage and practice. And like I said with the writing, right? Like writing a sentence gets the book done. Some care to yourself. Today, a little bit, and then a little bit and a little bit. That's all moving in a good direction. You don't have to be, oh, now I have to do all the things. My day is filled with just all the good things and I'm ignore everything else. It's just, can there be a moment that we just pause and love ourselves and really
Mhm.
give ourselves like care?
That's pretty
You know,
good. That's very hard to do, but pretty damn good.
even just for like that moment, just take a moment. Ah,
I love
you
it.
know what you've been through.
Yes.
So like give yourself a little care. Oh, I know. It's okay. I'm with you. I got you.
Yeah.
Right?
And we would do that for friends and family. Like we would, without thought, we
Right.
would step in and give all kinds of care and grace,
Right.
but we do not give it to ourselves.
Even a moment, right? You see someone hurting who you love nearby. Oh, let me just put my hand on their back or stand close to them, right? You just do it, right? I mean, many people don't do that, but there can be a longing for that, right? But it is a hurdle to just pause and give that to ourselves. And so let that also be just a practice. It has it because it has benefit.
I
It
love
really
that.
does.
It reminds me, that takes me back to something my minister had said to me when I was going through my very public, I guess, scandal. And I was just walking myself through sackcloth and ashes. Like I was just,
Mm,
and she
mm,
said, she's like, God has already forgiven you, but you can't forgive yourself. Like you can, because you would never hold this over somebody you know and care for. So
right.
why
The
are
the
you
pain
believing
is
you need to suffer more? Like why
right,
are you
right. The thing that happened, right? The pain is there already, right? The thing happened. Why add, right, the judgment and the shaming of ourselves and the
Yeah.
not enough or the whatever it is on top of it. The first hurt is enough.
Yeah. And we don't think about that. We think that, oh, there's more suffering to be done.
Right? Let me remind myself of that. Let me keep bringing it back up. Oh, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve that because of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard. It's a real hard thing to be, also to be honest about the level of hurt that we have experienced, which is why we do that, right? So to be honest, like, oh, this is why I'm like beating myself up because this is what I've learned, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are very few models of learning not to do that.
Yeah.
Learn to hold ourselves accountable, right? It doesn't mean like we don't make mistakes, but it means, oh, I don't have to, the beating myself up over it now doesn't serve anything except cause myself more suffering,
Hmm.
which then means I then can't show up for myself or for others who I care about in the present because I'm too wrapped up in my own self-flagellation,
Yeah.
right? Sackcloth, ashes. Sorry, can't give you a hug. I'm no good, right?
And I mean, it's funny, but it is so true. And
It
I
is.
see it with people all the time. Like I see it, and they are looking for somebody to give them permission to like ease up. And I'm like, you are the permission.
Right.
Like you're
Well,
the
here, let's do
permission.
this, Babs. Everybody listening, we forgive you. You have permission to heal, to move on, to give yourself what you need to be well.
Mhm. We giving you permission. If you was waiting for a sign, this is the
Here's the sign.
sign.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
bringing you permission. You have permission. You are the permission.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth
Don't
to
be the
you.
one, like the first no or whatever it is, the hard thing happened. Now don't be the one to like further censor yourself, right?
Yeah.
To further keep yourself back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Thank you for the lesson today. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so much of your inner story for the lesson today.
Mm,
Because I think that's pretty powerful. Because I do believe that, we do have notions about people and how they move through the world. And we just think, oh, look, they're moving through the world so seamlessly and effortlessly. Oh, they don't have a care in the world.
right.
No one does not have a care
Right.
or disease or
Right.
struggle or nobody on this planet
Right.
except like maybe a newborn, but even that
Right.
has
They're
its
they're also can't be like there's like I'm hungry. Like they're just like screaming, right? They don't even know what this a body is. They're just like can't hold their heads up, right? I don't know where I
right.
am. Everything's blurry.
So
It's
yeah.
not even making sense.
Mhm, mhm.
Thank you,
So
Babs.
thank you so much, Enroue. That was very thoughtful and kind to share so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if people want to see poetry that I'm writing,
Yes, where can they
really
go?
feel
Where
free. So
go
yeah,
to your
my
site?
website, healingandliberation.com. It's all spelled out.
Okay.
And the blog page it's titled Writings and Media is the page on the website. So go to that, and then you can subscribe or follow. Put your email in, and then whenever I post a poem to that, you'll automatically get an email notification of it that you
Oh, I
can read.
love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
I'll be
Well,
putting something up probably in the next couple of days also.
I'm gonna go check it out. Sign
Yay.
up.
Already got some there. You can read ones that I've already posted there.
All right. I'm so happy. Thank you very much, Enroue.
You
Enjoy
will.
your weekend. Enjoy the children while before they go back to their academic work and
Yes. Thank you,
and
Babs.
teenage world and college world and you know
Yeah,
all the things.
all the things. You take care too, Babs. Have a
I will
wonderful
see. I'm
day.
sure I'll see you during
See
Black
you
Wall
around.
Street sometime this weekend.
We'll see you around. Yeah.
I'll see you around. Take good care. Thank you. Thank you, Harry Droz. See you
Thank you, guys.
later. See you on Monday, Harry.